Day 22, Contagious Kingdom. Jesus called together the 12. He sent them out to announce God's kingdom and cure the sick. That is from the beginning verses of Luke chapter 9. Later on in Luke 10, he commissioned 70 others, sent them ahead of him in pairs to every town and place where he was intending to go. So here you see the breakout of Jesus' ministry. He is now securely multiplying, getting the word out to every place around, making sure no rock is left unturned for people to hear about Jesus. The disciples, whether it's the 12 or the 70, many of them who were with him, they got to see so much. They're there when he multiplies the fish. They're there when he is preaching the Sermon on the Mount, when he is healing the centurion servant, and they have what the author is calling a backstage pass to the most electrifying movement in all of history. Now, he wants to clarify something about being a disciple back in that day. A first century disciple is first, of course, called by a rabbi, and it is usually the cream of the crop that is chosen. Why? Because a master teacher is inviting you to not just sit and listen and learn. This isn't like just a student that we would see today. This is even more like an apprentice, but even more so, because you're not just sitting and learning, you're mimicking to be exactly like the master teacher. So an apprentice is supposed to learn these practical, literal skills and say and do, and basically be a copy of their teacher. It involved just it would often say, be right on the heels of your master. And it would even say sometimes covered in the dust because you're walking so closely behind the rabbi. And so he sends out his disciples to do exactly what he is doing, which at this point is healing and casting out demons. So it's important to note one thing about this is that Jesus' ministry, all the preaching, the miracles that he's doing, comes after his baptism, after the Holy Spirit comes upon him like a dove. And so why is this important? Because it teaches us these two significant events about Jesus' journey. One, Jesus is doing everything rooted as a son. Jesus is doing everything rooted in the love of his Father for public ministry. And second, Jesus is anointed by the Holy Spirit for power in ministry. So he jumps into a little bit about each of these events. Jesus is never losing sight of the fact that everything he's doing and saying, he is hearing from his Father. It's not that he is celebrating the healing and miracles all on its own. He even says this to his followers in Luke 10. He says, celebrate this, that your names are written in heaven. Not that you have command over spirits, but celebrate that the Father knows you. Celebrate that he loves you, that he is for you. And so the second, in Acts 10, Peter, and this is many years after the resurrection, Peter is getting up and he is preaching and he says, God anointed this man Jesus with the Holy Spirit and with power. He went about doing good and healing all who were overpowered by the devil, since God was with him. So he didn't just say, hey, by the way, Jesus was God, so of course he's doing these things. No, he actually is saying he's anointed by the Holy Spirit, and he has been anointed by the Father to do these things. And so you might wonder, Jesus is God as well, which we don't have a problem seeing. But did Jesus intentionally operate not from his own position of the Godhead, but operate reliant purely upon the Holy Spirit because he wants to make sure the disciples can do the same? So what we can be confident is that Jesus intends, of course, that his kingdom is continuing to spread and spread widely to every corner, overturn every rock, because it is a contagious kingdom. Because of Jesus' humanity, his life, death, and resurrection, there is now a new way to be human, deeply rooted in the love of Abba Father and overflowing with the life and power of the Holy Spirit.